I wanted to touch on the subject about Cam Newton. It seems like the NFL is going full force. They really want someone that they can lynch publicly because whenever something happens that is not in their favor, somebody has to pay for it. And it looks like they are going after Cam Newton. They try to push this sexist rhetoric regarding a female journalist, but it didn't work because out of all of the female journalists, they got one that is racist. So I just wanted to go over the idiocy of what they are trying to say Cam Newton said. Now, I watched the interview that he gave concerning basically what he was saying was that, he was shocked and surprised that a female would know about routes. Now, that is not sexist. What he said is not sexist. First of all, this woman is a reporter. I'm sure he has had other journalists and reporters speak to him, and these females didn't know about routes. They didn't have inside knowledge. They could have looked up the information, or they could have even let it come out their mouth that they didn't know much about it. Me personally, I do enjoy sports and football. It's something that I played as a child. It's something that I have watched in the past. I'm boycotting the NFL, and the NFL has taken a big hit in its ratings. So they are hot. One thing they can do is control people's action and control people's money. And if you are not watching and you are not buying anything, they can't make you do it. So that is one effective way of really getting your point across. So in their anger, they try to drum up some propaganda, it's just bullshit about Cam and what he said, and we'll take a look at fully what he said.
Bulletin board material, trash talk that provides motivation to clobber the opponent. Well, this is a little unconventional, but it still might qualify. Panthers quarterback Cam Newton showing a pretty shocking level of condescension towards a female reporter today after practice.
I know you take a lot of pride in seeing your receivers play well. Devin Funchess has seemed to really embrace the physicality of his routes and getting those extra yards. Does that give you a little bit of an enjoyment to see him kind of truck stick the people out there?
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. It's funny.
Now, the reporter involved, Jourdan, Rodtigue, took to Twitter afterwards saying, "I don't think it's funny to be a female and talk about routes. I think it's my job." And she added that she spoke with Cam Newton afterwards and it was worse. She chose not to share because, hey, she's got a job to do. A little side eye going Cam Newton's wife from me anyways. And Ziggy Ansah, Anthony Zettel, I'm looking at you. You got a job to do on Sunday.
Now, you see who they put forth to actually speak about this. I mean, she looks biracial to me, but she is supposed to be the representation of a black female. So now you see this so-called sexist black male is going after the helpless blonde hair, blue-eyed white female. That's coming into play. Then you have this seemingly black, they're going to call her black, but biracial female who is siding with the victim, the blonde hair, blue-eyed Becky. And, they're saying she was offended. I didn't take it that way because me being a woman and me liking sports, there's some women in my family who like it, but they are not in depth in it. It's more male oriented. A lot of men are into it. So me, myself, in the workplace, wherever I am, if I start talking about sports, if I start talking about wrestling, if I start talking about boxing, baseball, anything like that, a lot of the women in my family, they're not interested. And a lot of the women in the workplace and the women that I encounter knew nothing about sports. They didn't even know the basics about sports. They knew the team. They knew that this was their hometown team, but they didn't know the plays, the routes, anything like that. And basically what he said was, it was very funny to hear a woman speak about routes, because he hasn't heard that often in his conversations with women. He probably haven't even heard that often within the female journalists who cover sports, because sometimes all they want is a pretty face up there. So she basically tried to say it was much worse. And I'm going to guess that he said, you know, with her speaking the way she did about the routes and the plays, that, you know, she was really probably one of the only ones, or very few women that he encountered who knew about it. Because me, myself, if I'm talking about a sport, the majority of who I'm talking to are men. So I know that to be true. So they basically took something innocent and tried to make it into something it's not. When you hear that, his tone is not misogynistic, it's not sexist, it's not putting anyone down. It's just that it just dawned on him, like, you know, this is weird, me hearing you be able to speak in depth about that. But she decided to twist it into something it's not, and through her insecurity and with Caucasian fragility, the level, she took it as that's a knock on her abilities, because you can see at all times they are always trying to prove something and prove that they're knowledgeable, prove they're intelligent. So she decided to twist it into, I don't even know how this popped up, but I can only say that within the workplace, that's something that they can use as. But his comment was not sexist. It wasn't something that he needed to apologize for. And I wanted to show his apology, which was not needed at all.
After careful thought, I understand that my word choice was extremely degrading and disrespectful to women. And to be honest, that was not my intentions. And if you are a person who took offense to what I said, I sincerely apologize to you. I'm a man who tries to be a positive role model in my community and tries to use my platform to inspire others. And I take ownership to everything that comes with that. And what I did was extremely unacceptable. I'm a father to two beautiful daughters. And at their age, I try to instill in them that they can do and be anything that they want to be. And the fact that during this whole process, I've already lost sponsors and countless fans, I realized that the joke is really on me. And I've learned a valuable lesson from this. And to the young people who see this, I hope that you learn something from this as well. Don't be like me. Be better than me. And to the reporters, to the journalists, to the moms, super moms, to the daughters, the sisters, and the women all around the world, I sincerely apologize and hope that you can find the kindness in your heart to forgive me.
So yeah, that was the apology. If you listen to that apology, it really sounds like he did something criminal. He did something wrong. He did not do anything wrong. She decided to go ahead and try and twist it, but they didn't know that people like to search and look up what people have done in the past, and she didn't know her past was going to come back to haunt her, which really made this story die. I do know there's probably some remedial Caucasians who will not let it go and try and use it, but it basically died in the water once people found receipts on this so-called hurt journalist who does not like discrimination of any kind, and she felt offended because she felt it was a sexist statement. And I've seen some black women say it was a sexist statement. I've seen some black men coming after Cam Newton, calling him the C word, which I am so damn sick of that word. It is just beyond words how I can express how sick I am of that word. I mean, it's thrown around. Even the BW word, those two words are disgusting. It shows me something within the pro-black sector, that you're not as pro-black as you're trying to say when you use those words, because you're using a word that doesn't even fit what you're talking about. And also you're using slurs that, you know, the very person that you call a devil used against your ancestors, your family members. But back to the original story, Cam did nothing wrong. He did not have to issue an apology. He should not have, but I know he's under contract, so he has shackles on him, and they were very happy to try and parade him out there and to make an example of him, saying we have control of what he says. When we tell him to apologize, he'll do it. And his apology was like he did something wrong, like he really heinously hurt someone. He didn't, and I think it was disgusting, and I really did not like the fact that he issued an apology for saying something that personally I understand what the hell he's saying. And it just shows the intelligence level of people who try and act like they have such a high IQ, they are so smart that they couldn't even understand that this man was saying that he does not come across women who know about that. And it's just, I believe it's just recently that women are really speaking on that they enjoy sports. They're getting into sports. As far as video games, this is something that isn't known. It's just like when I get a video game, I am asked, oh, so is this for your boyfriend, your husband, your child, or a family member? And they think I'm buying it for a man. And then I say, no, I'm buying it for myself. And they are shocked. I've been in shops where it was predominantly men, and it was about games. There were cards, video games, old video games, comic books and everything. And they stop and look at you because they don't see women into it, and I don't take offense to it. I don't know how you can think it's sexist. I think you're super sensitive. I think you have a low intelligence level and comprehension level to think that and not be able to use basic skills to know what this person is actually saying to you. But because he was a black man, and the controversy with black males exercising their First Amendment right, and remedial people who say they're offended, you know, we know the Caucasus American is very offended because these Negroes don't know their place and don't know that they are supposed to do what we tell them, basically. But it's very interesting that every time I hear a rebuttal, that they parade out a black person. And
when I first heard the comment, you know, I felt like he was talking to her as if she was speaking above her knowledge level. If you look at his face, he was reacting from when she first used the word route.
he started to react off of that. And I felt like it was also a little bit of tone of disrespect in the way that he addressed her. Because if you notice in the comment, he said, it's funny to hear females. He didn't even say female reporters. So he didn't even include her profession in what she was saying. And the reason why I was dismayed is because I know personally, obviously, what it has taken just to even be sitting in this chair right now. I know of all the women that I respected that have come before me, and you mentioned them, from the Lisa Salters to the Pam Olivers to the Judy Batista to the Sally Jenkins.
So I wanted to go ahead and stop it there, because you can tell that this is not about what Cam Newton said per se. This is about a personal experience that this woman has, and she is very excited to be up front and center for First Take on ESPN, to be the face. And the only reason that this woman is up there is because she's a black woman, and she was willing to coddle this racist female. Now, what she got out of it, I don't know how she got that out of it. Like I said, a lot of these people want to feel like they're smart. They always want to jump on a bandwagon when I just played the video, and it was not condescending. It was not disrespectful. It was not a flippant attitude that he had. Now we have to blow this out of proportion, and now we have to get the feminists involved, the Caucasian feminist. And now we have to coddle this racist Caucasian female who she wouldn't dare have come out and said a damn thing if this woman here on the screen had been offended by something, had been said something by a Caucasian male player. Nobody would have came to her defense. And it's really making me sick that black people, especially black women, I thought we had a bit more sense than that, than to come and put on our S and our cape for Becky, who at the end of the day is doing what's best for her and her group. Now, what I wanted to get to is her fake apology. Now, this woman did not even make a video to come out and show her face to say, I apologize for what I said. This is her apology. I apologize for the offensive tweets from my Twitter account from 4 to 5 years ago. There is no excuse for these tweets and the sentiments behind them. I am deeply sorry and apologize. First of all, she made an excuse in the first sentence of the tweet 4 to 5 years ago. She wanted to make sure that what that implies, and for people to get that this is old. So it really doesn't count as me being racist because they were 4 or 5 years ago, but she wanted to apologize. But these tweets here, she didn't know they were going to come back and bite her in the ass. And this is your typical blonde, blue-eyed woman who is not spectacular in any way, shape, or form. I like this article here because it says female reporter who was insulted by Cam Newton's alleged sexist comments apologized herself after tweets surfaced of her using the N-word and enjoying her father's racist jokes about Navajo land, which is the Native Americans, the original people of this land. And they do go into how the tweets were from 4 to 5 years ago, but it doesn't matter because once a racist, always a racist. And if she's laughing at her father's jokes, her father has been a racist for a while, and he passed on his traditions to his daughter. It says the female reporter who implored Cam Newton to apologize for belittling her with sexist remarks earlier this week offered her own apology on Thursday as racist tweets she wrote 4 years ago emerged. They want to say this is old, this is not her now, but I don't care when it was. It's still in her. If her father was like that, she grew up like that, and she's still like that. Jourdan said there was no excuse for the, see, they put a year to it, 2012, 2013 tweets in which She used the N-word and reveled in her father's racist jokes about Navajo land. That she apologized on Twitter. That's not an apology, and it's not accepted. And here's the tweets. This one is the earth moves at 450 plus miles per hour. That's 10 times triller than NASCAR Dale Earnhardt's bitch nigger. I don't know if she was trying to rhyme nigga, a bitch nigga. Okay. Still, that's unacceptable. Especially someone who's crying and who was so offended by Cam's words because he was so sexist, allegedly. And he said these things and just hurt her and broke her to her core, but she had the nerve to say the N-word. And where the hell did she get trill? And to even know that word and say what she said, you know she's been looking at a lot of black music, black culture, rap, hip-hop, but these are the main ones that like to throw around the N-word. And here it says, he's the best. Racist jokes the whole drive home. So she's kicking up her heels because he is making racist jokes. My dad is being super racist as we pass through Navajo land. And to think that she's not like her father, but she was so offended, right? This thing here was so offended. And people would say, you know, there's some black dude who would definitely dick her down and say that she is their white bae # white queen while calling him all kind of nigger bitches, and then taking him to her father's house and allowing him to call him nigger bitches. And then they show the apology, which is not an apology, it's bullshit. So that's all I have to look at for this one, but I will leave the article in the description box. But he didn't say anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. They tried to make it seem like he killed someone. Be better than me. Why would this man have to say be better than me? For what? This is an apology to a racist who didn't apologize to the Native American people for what she said, and she didn't apologize to black people for what she said. She didn't put out a formal apology. It was nothing on video like what Cam did, which was extra, which I know he had to do it because, you know, they're looking to lynch someone and they definitely would get on him. But he is not the C word. He is trying to play in that fine line between his blackness and having to live in this fucked up country. I don't think that he should be totally dismissed. I think he did learn a lesson. No matter what you do, what you say, if they can find a reason, they will go ahead and do that. But I think Cam needs someone there to help him and also to navigate through the celebrity thing, because a lot of people are calling celebrities, you know, the C word, but we all know even at the job, if you hold a regular job, there's things that you can't say, things that you can't do, you can't flip out, because it'll be used against you. And it's the same with them. But I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Do you think his words were sexist or not? And what do you think about this reporter that was so hurt by these so-called offensive words? And I will see you in the next one.